toy collector, and he's particularly interested in Godzilla and the Godzilla films and the characters of the films. And so we're in. This is in progress. We're doing we're going to do a traditional Japanese body type piece with a traditional Japanese background, but with the new Japanese monsters. Kind of a hybrid. Mike Malone, I'm from Honolulu, Hawaii.
James Hughes from Austin, Texas.
And kind of drifted into tattooing in about '68. Tattooed out of my apartment for a couple of years, and then got up with some pretty interesting tattoo people, Sailor Jerry, Ed Hardy, Zeke Owens, and worked in San Diego for a couple of years, and then moved out to Hawaii. Been in Hawaii since. I have a shop now in Austin, Texas, too. So I go back and forth between Austin and Honolulu. Nostalgia's coming back.
I'm happy to have these guys here. It's Mr. Nakano, whose professional name is Horiyosh III from Yokohama, and Mr. Owada Horitoshi from Tokyo. Really added a lot to this convention, and I think it'll change a lot of people's concept of Japanese tattooing. Japanese tattooing has had such a great influence indirectly on the West, but I think this is the first time that people have been able to actually see this done on our home shores, and so this is the real stuff here, you know, uncut. Horiyoshi is working a design here of a very Western-influenced design. I think he's been influenced by some of the fantasy art that he's seen in the West, and particularly from a lot of our Western tattooers. So he's done this sort of demon. It's almost like a heavy metal album cover kind of a variation of this guy with skulls popping out all over him, coming out of a cobweb, and he is conjuring up a sacred Buddhist calligraphy. It's the Japanese term for it is bonji. It's usually used on tombstones and in sacred texts. And it's a character that stands for a composite of all the 13 most powerful Buddhas. So it's like a protective amulet that's supposed to be super strength and to ward off evil and all that kind of a thing. So this is an interesting piece. It's the first tattoo that he's done here on this trip to San Diego, and was selected by the client. This is Todd Merriman from Seattle area, who's wearing a lot of work of Pete Stevens on him. And he selected from a series of designs that Horiyoshi drew especially to bring to the convention that he thought people would like, that were kind of a fusion of the traditional Japanese work and with a little Western influence thrown in. He's doing the shading with a shader that I believe has probably about 30 needles in it, staggered in a double row. The outline was all done by hand on the tattoo, but he continues to do all his black and gray work and the color fill-in by hand. And he develops a fantastically smooth tone with this. These guys do work that's incredible to me to see the evenness and precision of it working with a hand tool like that. Again, this technique was pretty much developed in Japan during the first big flowering of decorative tattooing in old Tokyo, Edo as it was called then, in the late 1700s. So it's been going on unbroken that way for about 200 years with this method. You don't have as much pain sensation with the handwork in the hands of a skilled master such as these people. It doesn't actually hurt as much as a machine. There's, you feel more of the pressure of it on you rather than the sharp slap that an electric machine gives you. And the client himself, I asked Todd how he was doing with it, and he said it was a breeze. He said there's nothing to it, so I guess he's happy all the way around. And he's getting a fantastic souvenir to look at there the rest of his life, and hopefully some good luck along with it.
What makes your machines better than everybody else's?
I think it's a labor of love. I work 6 days and 6 nights a week. I stop, I can go to sleep that quick, wake up when I sleep a while, go back to work. And I got thinking recently, why am I doing all of this? And I says to the old man myself, why not, right? Yeah, I enjoy what I'm doing. And I actually learned the basics from Coleman in Norfolk. He was a tattoo machine man in those days. He painted with a tattoo machine like a paintbrush. With just and he asked me, he said, I know you can't come up till the war's over. When it's over, I want you to come up and work with me. I'll work in the wintertime at daylight. I go to work, and I'll do a lot of work that day. The next day, I try to finish up the machine. It takes 2 days to make a prefab the way I make them. 2 days of solid work. In the old days, they were just, you know, like a guy comes in and say, what the H do you want? You know, he wants get you tattooed and get you out of there after the book. We had a lot of that in the old days, and there was no knowledge there. There was no way for them to learn anything. What I have want to do is leave information for that, you know, at my age. I'm very interested in sharing everything.